The rays are back in their 2,000-gallon aquarium that I built specifically for them in a building that I essentially planned and built around that aquarium. Everything in my world revolves around those rays, so you can only imagine how excited I am to have them back in their aquarium. However, that leaves that 700-gallon empty. And I would be lying if I told you I wasn't almost as excited for what I'm doing with that. Let's just jump into this. I'll show you exactly what I'm doing. Whew, beautiful. You guys already gotten a few hints as to what I'm doing with the 700. You might even remember in some of the past videos that there was this big tree chunk just sitting in front of the 700. You'll also remember that was originally from the 2000. Oh, check this out before we go anywhere. My daughter painted this for me for my birthday the other day. And look, there's me and Tamara. And there's this little tiny rocking chair on there from the podcast, which you guys sit in. This little thing, I died when I saw it. Thanks, Haley, I loved it. Anyways, that tree trunk was a little over 5 feet tall, like 5.5 feet tall. And I got to thinking, do you know what else is 5.5 feet tall? From the ceiling to the bottom of the aquarium is 65 inches. Which is about 5.5 feet tall. Don't look at this side, just look at me. Do not look over there for now. This is the only way I can put this camera just for a second. Anyways, so if I take that, you can see it. If you take that big log, that big trunk, it was 3 feet across. Well, in diameter, all the way around, 3 feet. The tank is 8 feet long, 5 feet front to back, and about 30 inches tall. If I put that trunk in there, it just takes up way too much space. So here's what I did instead. I decided to cut them in half, put them against the back wall, take the other halves of them, put them above the aquarium, and make it look like the trees are growing from the bottom of the tank up through it to the ceiling. And it turned out awesome. But with the trees in place, I kind of thought to myself, I don't think it looks just good like that. What do trees have growing on them? I got inspired by the brackish water aquarium with all these logs on it, and what's growing all over it? Moss, or at least looks like moss. So I went to the craft store and picked up a bunch of moss. And well, once that was on there, I thought, well, wouldn't it look a whole lot cooler if we had a bunch of live plants back there just growing and going nuts? And plants, of course, need water and some pruning and taking care of. And I thought, how am I gonna get back there to take care of them? Like, how am I guess maybe I could stand up here and get like to some of this. How am I gonna get? So obviously I went with silk plants. Just for the longevity, it's always going to look like that, but the middle was framed. The plaque wasn't there at first, but one of the members of this channel said, you know, it kind of looks like it's framed in the center, and I thought, we're gonna take the 1 million subscriber YouTube play button and toss it up there instead. And I thought, wow, the perfect idea. I think it looks absolutely phenomenal. Okay, now as for the scape, that's a tricky one. You gotta remember, I wanna go with a planted aquarium. Did I even mention this is gonna be a planted aquarium? I'm doing a 700-gallon planted aquarium. That is intense and insane, and I know you guys will want it done right now, but say this out loud. 700-gallon planted aquarium. We'll get it done pretty quickly. Anyways, we always do. But same theme, it's 5 feet deep. How am I going to maintain the plants all throughout the aquariums? I ordered a bunch of plants that shoot out runners, kind of propagate on their own. So the initial scape, I didn't really like that much. I do know one thing. I want to have between 500 and 1,000 of something. I want a schooling fish, and I want a lot of them. I'm not doing a community aquarium. I want just something that is just blows you away every time you walk in here. Mind you, we're only looking at the hardscape and the beginnings of this, so we gotta give this some time. The next 3 videos, by the 3rd video, this will be planted and essentially done, up and running type of deal. Give it a couple months, let the plants grow in. Give this tank some time. So what am I going to do for scape? Well, first and foremost, you'll notice out here in front of all of these rocks, it's all roots and branches. We're gonna be having pool filtration sand all the way, pretty much circling these rocks. And behind the rocks is actually going to be where the planted substrate will be and where all the plants are going to go. So in the back, all around the tree trunks will be lush with hundreds of plants. It's just going to be packed full. Absolutely gorgeous. And out front, white sand. See the fish well. There, it's going to force them to come out and away from back there. At the end of the day, I'm a fish keeper. I know that, like, I'm not very good at aquascaping because I don't care. I care more about the fish than I do about, like, is this log look good with over? I don't care. I'm just worried about the fish and how they're going to display and interact with their environment. And this is going to be somewhere in the middle. A really cool looking tank that's really big, and I'm not looking forward to taking care of it with a lot of fish that are truly going to appreciate it. With that said, the plants will be concentrated and focused in the back simply because I want the focus to be on the fish. Now, mind you, I'm gonna need everybody to put their imagination caps on. You come in, you see the fish. This is the first thing that's absolutely impressive. Your eyes are drawn to the bottom immediately. You go along the logs, you go over the rocks, then you see all those plants. Your eyes draw up through the branches, and then you notice it's coming up through the tank. Mind you, this is gonna be fully covered. We're not gonna have a 700-gallon open in this 550 square foot building. It's just too humid, too hot. We're gonna lose too much water, too many fish are gonna jump, and I do have actual plans that we're gonna be building some open top tanks, but that's a conversation for another day. So the placement of the branches is so that we can have them directly on top of the bracing system. It doesn't need to be supported that much because they're not that heavy, but it is relatively important to make sure that they do have some sort of a support structure. Filtration and everything else is built into the backs of them. This tank is absolutely phenomenal. I can't explain how excited about this I am. I just got this idea one day when I was like kind of thinking about what will happen to the 700. Well, I guess this was a couple months ago when I knew the rays were going back in, or probably 3 or 4 months ago, but that's when I decided I want that tree log in here. And originally, the original idea, and I'll let you guys think, I was gonna put it in the center, plant all around it, and maybe have fish going around it like that, but I thought the log being 3 feet and the tank only being 5 feet wide, that leaves us a foot. Maybe if we push all the way to the back, we have 2 feet, but then that eliminated the purpose of them swimming all around it. Maybe I could have put it off to a side and had a big, I thought of a number of things, but then one day I was like, why not cut it in half, put all filtration behind it, then we have 2, have it coming up through, all kinds of plants. If you guys are excited about this aquarium as I am, make sure you subscribe if you're not already. I'll see you guys in the next video when we have all of the plants, all of the equipment. I'll see you then.